Right guys, Mark Crossfield here. I'm just about to head out the door list to try the new Callaway Apex MB irons. But before I do, I've just got an excitement announcement. I've paired up for a series of videos which you're going to see coming across my channel and on their website with revolutiongolf.com. Revolutiongolf.com has also paired up with the golf channel, so it's a really exciting opportunity to make some fantastic content that you all enjoy. If you want to find out more about what Revolution Golf are about, hit the link down in the description below and check them out. There's some fantastic pros, from Martin Chuck to my mate Andrew Rice to Dave Pelt, Sean Foley, Martin Hall. So fantastic coaching content on there, but at the same time we're going to start making some reviews with Revolution Golf. I'm really excited about this. Check them out, like I say, in the link below. Let's get to Dawlish and try these clubs. Right, so I'm at Dawlish, got the Callaway Apex MB irons, bladed Callaway irons. I think Callaway aren't always the first that comes to mind when you think of blades. You think of distance, don't you, and power and game improvement a bit more, but let's see what this bladed offering might do for your golf game. Let's get stuck in. So Callaway Apex MB irons, what do we get? Well, we get, like you would get from most companies who make this kind of pure blade iron, a heavily influenced tall players iron. So what I mean by that, it's the tall players have put their input into what they wanted to look, sound, feel like, how they want soles, those kind of ideas. I always think that line's slightly humorous because most tall players I've talked to, they don't know what they want. They just want to win. I mean, this 6 iron, when it comes to a pure blade look, does look fantastic. Even going to this old-fashioned crimping around the old hosel here, around the neck. I do like that. Players irons, that's a birdie. So Callaway talk about the grooves on these clubs. I think they're calling it 20V grooves, so basically you're getting very precise grooves. When companies say this, they all tend to go that way when it comes to these bladed clubs. Obviously there's not much they can talk about, they have to mention something. Does that mean grooves on other clubs aren't precise? What they're saying is you're going to maintain spin at a rough better than maybe other clubs. I mean, I've said this for a long time now. I think a lot of people are getting the low spinning argument slightly wrong. I think you're hitting off a mat, it doesn't matter, but you go hitting, I've seen people hitting 7 irons at 3,000 revs. What happens when that ball is wet from semi-rough? You cannot have a 7 iron with a big chunky iron kind of spinning down under 2,000 revs. It just won't stay in the air. So I like that line with these. How true that is or not, obviously you have to play into that. I just like the fact that a blade's going to give you that more true kind of flight, which I've been kind of saying for a while because I use blades. To be honest with you, it's one of the reasons why I do, because I feel I can control distance better than when I use big chunky cavities. So for me, I actually feel like the blades offer more help through the consistency. Now it'll be interesting, we'll get up there and look at that one. I've caught that slightly out the toe, but I think that is going to be there or thereabouts. This is a 6 iron hit, and it's on my number for distance, so how short is the toe hit on that one? Let's have a little chip with the wedge. Wedge again, stunning looking, nice little round head, not too long in the blade length. My 6 iron there's just gone over the back, so absolutely no problem with a toe strike. You've got to remember, this is where people get confused with testing off different parts of the face, which I personally think is almost impossible to do. That helicopter's pretty low. Toes travelling faster than the middle, so often you can get similar distance from a toe hit to a middle hit. Also sometimes the spin drops off it if you hit it in certain parts of the face, then that makes up the distance. Testing on different parts of the face is not as basic as YouTube might make you think it is. It upsets me that people think it is that basic. You can tap in a 10 with it as well. Right, standard dry ball data collected in a controlled environment to give you an idea of what these clubs can do. I'm sure you can imagine what they will do as bladed irons, but check this out. Here's some dry ball data I captured at Torquay Golf Club. Right, I'm here at Torquay Golf Club. The screen isn't on because I can't work out how to turn the projector on. But I'm going to hit MB Apex Callaway, going to show you some numbers. Four pretty decent hits. Let's see what we got. So we're averaging 165 carry, longest hit 167. It's a 6-iron for me. Spinning at 5,589 revs per second. Exactly where my 6-iron distance and spin need to sit, which is kind of what you would want and everything I would expect from that kind of iron. Let's get back out on the golf course. So the numbers are where you would expect a bladed iron. I think any marketing jargon that only really has 3 points and one of them is that the tour players make it look pretty, you know you're going to get relatively true numbers. I think, you know, with all these clubs, because these kind of players are more certain in what they want, so I aimed at your kind of scratch golfer, better player, low handicapper, they only sell more on looks and then that tour connection. They don't have to confuse you so much with triaxles and fast foams and pockets and this and that and doobie. They just say looks good, feels good, you're a good player, it's forged. Golf can be that simple, believe me. Now this wedge is absolutely stunning. It is such a nice shape down by the ball. And it feels as good as any of them off the face. It just feels really solid. And that's gone the distance I'd want that wedge to go. Just a little bit further right than I'd want that wedge to go. That's a par. So I think Callaway have done a really good job on how this looks. Callaway, all their tour players, whichever way you want to look at it. I don't think they've done an amazing job with how it feels. It does feel very bladey. The words we can use are soft, those kind of things, traditional, true. It kind of does all of those. So I think a lot of people will look at these and be surprised or pleased with how they've come out. I personally love the way they look and I love the way they sound. The grooves you can work into what you want. I mean, I'm talking about, I just like the crimping around the outside as much as anything, because it's all about the look and appearance and feel, sound, those kind of things with these clubs. And then there's some interesting comments, I guess, about price. I've not seen the price, but I'm sure they're not going to be cheap. But I always wonder what people think when it comes to business. If you made this iron cheap, they would sell probably less of them. The price is often built around the branding and then what that means in your head. I think that's so simple to understand. It's in every luxury good out there. I don't want a cheap Porsche. It'll probably break. I want a brand new Porsche. They're not cheap. I mean, it just feels lovely. I mean, that's a 4 iron, that just feels as good as anything. Let's take them home and let's show you how they look compared to some other irons. Right, MB v MB. So Callaway left, Titleist MB right. I do think the Titleist is a nicer shape. I like it more where it joins the neck, but that's my personal preference. Very similar top lines. What about MB v P790 TaylorMade? And I know there's a bladed option from TaylorMade coming or out, but demos aren't really flying around yet. This is the Callaway Apex on the left, certainly a thinner top line than P790, and similar on kind of blade length and looks apart from that top line. And I always like to include this one, so Apex MB v iBlade. Because iBlade just throws a curveball at people. It's definitely a finished, almost the same top line as the Apex MB. Nice little squat blade length. I think, well, it's hard to call it on those two. I like them both. Post your comments down below, let me know Apex MB. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you're liking the on-course vlogs. Hit the thumbs up button as well. Would it be a club you'd game or not? Let me know. As always, speak to you soon.